Now, I played some footage earlier of Gavin Newsom making some unwise remarks in Atlanta. I call it the bigotry of low expectations. The defence and the spin is in full motion at the moment. They're claiming that this wasn't a faux pas. All the commentary around it is misinformation. But at the end of the day, you can't deny what he said. He said what he said. He said it to a black man in Atlanta, and it was just patronising, to put it lightly. And we see the Democrats do this time and time again.
It was a real mask slip moment for him. The podcast style or stage interview style format strikes again because these guys just seem to really step in it. And those masks slip the more you're doing these conversations and putting yourself out there. That said, I wouldn't discount him because he is very, very politically ambitious, very, very expedient. He generally wears the mask, whatever mask is required, pretty well.
Yes.
He comes across as a moderate, even though his agenda and his policies are very, very radical. So I wouldn't count him out, but I think his bigger issue is the Democrat Party has really refashioned itself to be anti-white, anti-straight, which he is, and then this type of comment isn't going to help him with that big faction of the Democrat Party, the black voter.
I don't know if it... I mean, I know Donald Trump has been successful in fracturing that black vote a little bit, so he's won more support than other Republican presidential candidates have in the past, but
It's still
it
90%.
is still the strongest voting bloc the Democrats have. It is by far the most consistent, particularly when it comes to black women. But one black woman, rapper Nicki Minaj, has given Gavin Newsom an almighty serve. She posted, his way of bonding with black people is to tell them how stupid he is and that he can't read. But there have also been plenty of Democrats who've expressed disappointment with his clumsy use of that anecdote. Do you think it can hurt him? Donald Trump's just posted online that Gavin Newsom has dropped out of the presidential race. I don't know if he knows something or he's poking fun at Gavin Newsom, but is it going to hurt him?
I think they're definitely making hay of it, but you're right that the black vote is the most monolithic in terms of how they vote in the entire electorate. It is still 90% plus, and women, I think it's 98%.
Oh,
and a lot of them,
98%.
98% vote Democrat. And even with Trump chipping away at it, it was with black men in a certain age band, like 3 or 4 percentage points. So that group really has forever, maybe for decades, I would say 3 or 4 decades, only voted in that one way. And they tend to be low information. They're not in the weeds of politics that much. So I don't know how much they'll see this. And a week is a lifetime in politics by the time the election runs around. But it was a terrible comment. And I could see the other side making ads and trying to use it for the more moderate center that already is a little bit homeless in the Democrat Party.
Is it due to being low information or not being particularly engaged in politics, or is it because they are in fact very engaged in what they're being told, that you can't be black and not vote Democrat? That's pretty much what Joe Biden said to them. And this notion that the Republicans are racist, they have a history of racism, and that you will only vote for them if you are a self-loathing black person. I mean, that seems to have really taken hold in that community.
Deep-rooted, and people always look back to, from the Civil War era, how it turned. But for the last 40 to 50 years, that is so deep-rooted. The day-to-day, these machinations of what somebody said on the campaign trail, they don't tend to follow that so much. And what you mentioned is generational. That's just how they grow up, and it's very, very, very hard to crack that. Trump has come close.
You see the hate Nicki Minaj is getting at the moment. I think that also has to play we saw Kanye cop it years ago when he was pro-Trump. The hate from the community is extraordinary. Some of the things being posted online, and even by prominent people, not just faceless trolls.
Yep.
Now, Kosha, before we move on to more US news, let's look at what's happening in Mexico. There is mayhem in parts of the country. The cartels are running wild, lashing out after their leader was killed in a military raid after intelligence agencies tracked down one of his lovers to his secluded resort compound. That has seen violent retaliation across 20 Mexican states. 25 National Guard members were killed in a single day. Cartel members are burning vehicles, blocking roads. There are revenge attacks. They forced the closure of schools and airports. Kosha, Some of the footage coming out of Mexico is horrifying. We can't show it here. There's dead bodies. It's gruesome stuff. And tourists have been told to stay indoors, and narco gangs are on the rampage at the moment.
It's quite shocking. Schools are closed, sheltering in place. That region is actually a hotspot for tourism. Lots of Americans live there. If something were to happen to them, this is only going to escalate. So I'm sure the president is worried about that, among other things. But, she's taking a different approach, stronger than her predecessor, AMLO, who famously or infamously had said, let's work with hugs, not guns. She's at least seemingly going after the kingpin, conducting these federal raids, using intel sharing across their agencies and with the U.S., probably more because of the Trump administration rather than her, because he is putting a lot of pressure on them, because this problem, as everybody knows, it's not just a Mexico problem, it is a U.S. problem. They do come over the border. El Mencho himself was an illegal in the U.S. at many points over the years, and this is, I think, putting on the world stage in real time what we talk about when we talk about the southern border in the U.S.
It's a real advertisement for what ICE is doing in America when you see these cartels, just lawless, no fear of the police, going around executing people, and it's terrifying. And the fact that it could happen in that part of Mexico in particular is there are parts that are no-go zones at the best of times, but you would not imagine some of these really popular holiday spots where Americans, Canadians, even people from Mexico holiday. Now, let's take 15 seconds and reflect on this brilliant bit of totally sane and unbiased journalism from CNN, who last year thought it was a good idea to send a crew down to Mexico to speak to cartel members about how they felt about Donald Trump calling them terrorists.
According to the Trump administration, you are a terrorist. I mean, the cartels have been labeled a foreign terrorist organization. What do you make of that?
Está fea la situación, ¿verdad? Está fea la situación, pero pues de todos modos tenemos que comer.
That's aged beautifully, CNN, and giving the narco-terrorists there the opportunity to deliver a personal message to President. I mean, really.
Aged like a fine wine, or oxidized wine. Again, I think this is a wake-up call for the world, and it just makes these journalists and the way they've covered that story just more and more exposed. And I think the biggest thing I go back to is the polling in the American public for getting all illegals out. That's a broader topic, but by and large, a lot of them come from that part of the world or have historically. That shift has been remarkable. Just in the last 10 years, it was not a majority viewpoint, and now it is 80-20, get them all out. And this is just one layer, the most vicious layer in that public discourse, and these journalists are way, way behind the times.
And talking about activist journalists and reports that haven't aged well, here is the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation promoting travel to Mexico over America. Let's have a look at that report together with some recent footage out of Puerto Vallarta.
Bert and Marilee Mollard are getting advice from their travel agent on where to travel this winter.
So, have you guys decided on where you would like to go?
Well, on the bucket list is Puerto Vallarta.
The Manitoba couple usually spends weeks or even months at a trailer park in Westlake, Texas, but not this year.
Since the election of Trump and the insults that he placed on our country, 51st state and all of that garbage, we decided that, no, we're not going to spend money down there.
Yeah, there's tons to do in Puerto Vallarta. There's tons. And in all around that whole area. So you won't be bored.
Yes, there is tons to do there, like stay in your hotel and hope it's not overrun by narco-terrorists. The eagerness to slam the US, to make it out to be unsafe for travellers, we see that right here in Australia, and particularly in the UK. The delusion is extraordinary.
They've even issued travel advisories along the way about going to America. Canada has bigger problems.
Yes.
This week, they should focus on the curling scandal. They should focus on the fact that they lost, not to gloat, but they lost to the American hockey team.
In their own sport.
In their own sport, and this is not making them look very, very good.
Now, we've heard from Lex Wexner on his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. Kosha, did we learn anything here? A lot of people credit this man for elevating Jeffrey Epstein and introducing him to rich and powerful people.
Big name. There were always rumblings about this name, among others, in the files, and now as people are going through the 8,000 emails, his pops up again and again, of, as you say, opening his Rolodex, making introductions, possibly financial exchange. Was he involved in some of the more spurious things? Like all of that is coming out. And there is fallback or blowback, I should say, from this. Full disclosure, my alma mater, Ohio State, because I'm from Ohio, I went there, has many buildings that he was a donor of and have his name emblazoned on them. And now there's pushback from the Nursing Association and others to try and take his name down based on what's coming out of these emails.
Absolutely. They've got protests in the snow as we speak. And yeah, it takes a lot of guts to be protesting in that sort of weather. Now, before you go, another lefty losing it, author Stephen King has again posted verifiably false claims about Donald Trump. I mean, this guy is just a bit of a weirdo, and this is becoming a habit. He posted, Trump has never had a child, has been married 3 times, ran several businesses into the ground, never ran a home, couldn't make a bed to save his ass, and calls people he works with dumb losers, etc., has never done sweat labour, has never served on a local committee, he has no life experience. I don't know what he's trying to prove there. I mean, surely even Stephen King knows Donald Trump has children. He's got 5 children, and everything else he said there is largely false as well. But the children thing is a big one, yes?
Yes, and that's one of his biggest accomplishments, actually. Even the people who hate Trump usually have very nice things to say about all 5 of his children, or most of them. So I don't know why. I don't know what the context is for that. Did he just wake up and tweet that? I thought TDS was an acquired condition, like airborne, but maybe he's taking something.
No, he's been afflicted with TDS for a long time. There's some conjecture that he's taken a post that was said about AOC and tried to make it about Trump. But if he was trying to do that, he failed abysmally because it just looks like he's
bitter and
completely
out of touch.
clueless. Yes.
And jealous.
Kosha Gator, thank you so much for your time tonight.